Welcome to the Thought Bubble, the show where we talk about bullshit for approximately 1 hour. Today we do have a guest, though, who will be speaking through my avatar. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jesse. Go by he, him pronouns, and I'm co-hosting a new podcast with Ashley and do a lot of other small stuff.
Yeah, so let's start off with the podcast thing, because I think everybody here kind of vaguely knows who we are at this
Sure.
point. But
We're the
my new
ones.
podcast with Jesse is called Threshold, where we talk about episodes of Star Trek from IMDb that are rated the highest versus the worst. Episode one just came out earlier today, so after the show, you can go listen to that. You can find it at mrsashley.gay/threshold. You
That
can
is
listen
the
to it
best
wherever
URL
you
I've
get your
ever heard.
podcasts. Okay, we have buttons for Pocket Cast, Spotify, and for your RSS feed, so you can just put it into whatever you're using to listen to podcasts. What episode did we? What was the episode that just came out, Jesse? What was that?
Yeah, the pilot episode is about Shades of Grey, which is the terrible flashback episode at the end of season 2 of Next Generation.
Yeah, it's bad. It sucks. It was almost like, as far as I remember, hard to even quantify more than just like, oh, it's bad because of what it is. Even
Wait, is that
Yeah,
another one of
it
those
was
clip
just
show
there's nothing
ones?
there.
yeah, it was a clip
Yeah,
show, but you can hear more about our thoughts on that episode in our podcast. Go listen to the podcast.
You have to
And
repeat the
also,
whole thing here. That's what we agreed upon, Ashley.
yeah, I'll just play the episode real quick. Let me get my phone out.
I meant to reenact it live. No.
Yeah, for the people, what else do you do, Jesse?
yeah, I do another podcast with my friend Matthew called Free Reeling It, where we talk about just whatever movies we decide to talk about. We've covered documentary about a Pet Cemetery to Come and See, which is like a really rough World War II movie. Like we really will watch whatever, good or bad. We might not watch some more of the problematic creators, but we'll definitely consider watching whatever anybody throws at us. So I do that. That's coming out whenever we get around to recording it. It's kind of on a weird schedule. And then other than that, I kind of do writing here and there, and most of that can be found just wherever my stuff is found. I tend to post it whenever it's done. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Is there anything else we want to go over before getting into the show proper?
Um, you're Ashley. I'm Stevie. I
Yeah.
guess we're good. Yeah.
All right. You said you had a thing you wanted to get to before New Year's, Steve. Why don't we go ahead and do that before we forget?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. In fact, we actually got like a little sliver of this in the very very tail end of the last episode. But I actually, and it was funny how we stumbled into it. But like it was, I want to give it some due diligence because there are three people that that have meant a lot to me who died within the past handful of years, and handful I know is stretching it for one of these people, but like the 2 out of 3 died just this year, and I wanted to give a little love letter to them, and ask about also your perspective on their work. One of them you definitely will
Mm-hmm.
have. But yeah, we mentioned last week that because I was surprised to find when googling it that Joe Alasky, the guy who did many of the voices from Looney Tunes back in action, he passed away like in back in 2016. I was really surprised by that, and uh, I every time I look back at it, every time I look back at that movie or anything from that time, I start to see why they didn't really cast anybody else for those roles for that 15-year span of time. Like, I don't know, 1997-ish to like the late 2000s or whatever it may be. Like, he did Daffy Duck, he did Bugs Bunny. I think he did Yosemite Sam, but he did a bunch of the others as well. And yeah, Joe Alasky, just one of them. He took every rendition of like he took basically the best parts of every rendition of the characters he played, at least in that movie, and then just for the rest he was just a prolific and well cast voice actor, so I wanted to give some love to him. um
Yeah.
But
Looney
this year
Tunes Back in
specific,
Action, one of the best films of all
yeah.
time. The best
Oh,
film of all
absolutely.
time.
Uh, certainly the film of all time.
Would you agree, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as well versed in every voice actor's name, but that era of Looney Tunes is the one I grew up on. So
Same. Yeah. If you played like a Flash game or saw any of the cartoons around that time that had Looney Tunes, you definitely heard a whole bunch of his voice. And yeah, it's iconic. Secondly, the so you'll likely know of at least one of these people. So regarding the television series Friends, you may love it, you may hate it, whatever you may feel about it. There was probably at least one person rewatching it that that stayed in your heart in a positive way and actually made you laugh from at least from time to time. And that was Chandler Bing, played by Matthew Perry, who recently passed away. And I wanted to give some love to him, largely because like I've told Ashley, I likely wouldn't have started doing personally, I wouldn't have started really doing anything on a stage if not for how Chandler Bing inspired me, and I think that goes for a lot of people, doing doing artistic or entertaining things who are around as old as we are. And yeah, it was just like kind of that not quite mean, but like that snarky wit that you could just bring out at a moment's notice when just whatever is happening in your friend group. And I think every generation has something like that. Like there was those in 70s and 80s and 60s sitcoms, but I think he really honed it in an environment where there was like some assorted, outdated, stuff in a lot of the plots, but he was
Yeah.
always a highlight. And I wanted to know if you had any thoughts on that yourself.
I don't have a lot of Chandler's like the best character. I will absolutely admit that there's not much competition in that space, though. Friends, I do not think is a very good show in general. Um, one of my favorite I mentioned this on the last episode, but the podcast Draptomaniacs, they they make fun of white people a lot because it's a black history podcast. You gotta make fun of white people,
Oh yeah.
deservedly. And one of them is like, instead of saying white people, they'll always like use some euphemism, and one of them is people who think Friends are funny.
Yeah, I think there's a certain threshold for it. I think I think
oh,
it's like
I see what you did there.
yeah. Sorry,
Because
were
of
you
the
saying something, Jesse?
podcast.
Oh, I saw what you did there.
You said threshold
Oh my
in
god.
our podcast. You didn't even mean
No, I'll
to.
take credit for that. I'll say no, absolutely. But yeah, I think there's a certain like level of oh okay, even these parts. Yeah, but yeah, I do definitely want to listen to more of that. But that was what I wanted to say about him. Actually, I am curious, Jesse, do you have anything to say about Matthew Perry?
Uh, I think I had a moment for quite a few years back where I tried to watch through Friends and I got beat down by the show enough that I stopped watching it. But Chandler was the one that continuously the star, like the funniest person in that show. And then in general, Matthew Perry, he had another show. I can't remember the name of it, but I watched it a lot with my dad. And then he did The Odd Couple not too long ago, and that I thought was a very fun show. He was just continuously like a really great comedic actor for sitcoms, and it was really kind of surreal to read that he passed away from myself too, because he was definitely one of those guys. I'm like, oh, I never really think these people will ever die for a lot of reasons, and there's been a lot of celebrities recently were like that for me. So it's like he's definitely in that list.
Yeah, and I do want to say before moving on to the next one that I because I think he'd wanted to be mentioned even before Friends, but I kind of thought that that was more relevant to to a lot of our association. Um, Matthew Perry also did a lot of a lot of hard work over the course of decades, helping people recover from drug addictions and alcoholism. I think it's called like the Perry Foundation or the Perry House in I think in Malibu or something like that. But yeah, you can look up projects from Matthew Perry. It's probably on his Wikipedia page. But yeah, he did some fantastic work there. And the third and last person I wanted to give some love to who was much more recent actually that they passed away. Um, if you enjoy Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I think is a show that is much more consistently funny, so you might have actually caught more of it. But the character Captain Holt was played by Andre Braugher, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And not only was he one of the funniest characters on the show, but he, I think, is one of the best like autistic representations in at least recent media, like kind of on the level of like Danny Pudi as Abed Nadir in Community. Like he clearly on a level knew like a certain amount of social cues that it didn't seem like he was aware of. That a lot of people referred to him as a robot in the show. Um, but yeah, and I don't.
But Steve, you're forgetting about young Sheldon.
So about Andre Braugher, I, but but yeah, I know. I'm glad that it got to complete it. Like I think it was just either late last year or earlier this year that that Brooklyn Nine-Nine actually got to finish to completion with him in it, and that and like just under the fucking wire, like same year or something like that. And yeah. I think it's worth giving Brooklyn Nine-Nine a rewatch because that is a hilarious series. Even if you don't like cops, which we don't, you know, it does a good job making fun of cops too.
Yeah.
Fuck the
Yeah.
Remember, you're
police.
not immune to propaganda.
No one is.
I'm not saying I like the cops. I'm saying they're funny.
Say it's a slippery slope, you know.
Yeah, right. Of course, just like marijuana.
Of course, that's the gateway drug.
Right. And Dungeons and
I
Dragons.
started doing marijuana, and now I'm on hard crack. It's only been 2 days.
Studies
crack,
actually
you just gotta-
show that marijuana is a gateway drug in order to get off of harder drugs.
Oh, I
So it's
was
the
very
gateway to
concerned
getting
as to where
clean.
you were gonna go with that. I thought you were gonna go straight up soccer mom on us there, Lunar. I'm gonna be real with you.
Just 4 voices in the room. We never know what any of them are gonna say.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, if you guys got nothing on Andre Braugher, then I'm pretty much done for that one.
I don't. What about you, Jesse?
I think another he's just kind of been a powerhouse and stuff for a long time. There's a TV show called Men of a Certain Age with him and Scott Bakula, which tied into our show as one of the underrated captains of Star Trek captains. And Ray Romano, where they talk just about men being middle aged and the struggles of that. And I thought that was a really well thought out show back in the day. And he's also in a great Civil War movie called Glory with a young Denzel Washington and
Mm.
Carrie Elwes and Matthew Broderick. And that's one of those movies that if you haven't seen it, if you enjoy historical movies, I think it's one of the better ones.
Did you say Glory?
Yeah.
Glory. Okay, I'm definitely gonna check that one out.
Does everyone like my bit of whenever I'm not speaking and Jesse's speaking through me, I just look at the ceiling? Does everyone like my
When in
bit, like I'm
doubt,
being
look
taken
up.
over by a spirit?
Jesse, how's God been doing? Have you been knocking on his door?
he's been fine, except he's giving me this cough I can't get rid of. So excuse me if you hear any of it.
Damn you, God.
God,
God
you're
damn
streaming the
you.
show. What the fuck? You gave him a cough.
Hey, I don't have control over that, and also I'm not God. I'm the other one.
What is the other one? Oh,
The
right.
the
Satan.
the below one.
Right, we're not a religious show. We're just
We're
I'm still
extremely
playing off
religious,
of
just
it.
not to any real religions.
Hey, I am
Yeah.
irreligious. Come on now. I'm a reverend after all.
Oh, true, true.
We got 2 reference on this show.
I'm religious, but not spiritual.
I am licensed by the internet to officiate weddings in the United States, Wales, and Canada.
I'm proud.
Thank
You'll
you.
never
That's my
officiate mine. I feel like you would say it in a weird way, and it would imply weird things. You'd be
there's
reading it, but it'd be all smudged.
there's there's a couple that we both know that that I've known for like, I don't know, 5, 6 years at this point. And they said, "Oh, when we get married, we want you to officiate the wedding," and they are still like, I don't know how long they were together by that point, but even by now they have not, even though they were in discussions. So it's like, I think they're just like hedging their bets now. Maybe they just like, we do not want to follow
they
through.
finally proposed and then they remembered what they said and they're like, oh, we gotta push that back.
Guys, what is it?
If you could officiate anyone's wedding, whose wedding would you officiate?
Can they be already married?
Sure. Let's say you can time travel to their wedding.
Time travel to when they were God.
This question goes to you as well, Jesse. You have time travel. If they're dead, you go back to when they were alive.
So I have infinite time travel. That it's not restricted by lifespan. Oh my God. Oh, that's a tough one. I want to wait to hear your guys' answers first. I want to simmer on that.
Jesse, you have one?
Kevin Hart and The Rock.
You know what? I'm gonna steal that answer. But wait, no, I have my own answer. The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Oh, I know. Okay. Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that's
Dang, we didn't say that one. We have the Star Trek. We didn't say that.
Ian McKellen needs to be a captain on one of the Star Treks. I'm telling it now.
Ian McKellen needs to be a Q.
You can't put that in my head. Now I'm always gonna be disappointed by Star Trek until it happens. It's not fair.
So, talking about Star Trek now, we could go into another topic that I want to talk about. I've actually been finally reading the new comics. That's like a sequel to Deep Space Nine. And Jez, you've read like most of it by now, right?
Of the comics, yeah, I'm caught up.
Okay, I'm not caught up. I'm on issue 9 or 10. One of those. It's weird to count because there was like a detour to another thing and then it went back to the main story. Spoilers for the comics if anyone cares. I want to talk about them. They're really fucking fun, and every time that there's a new element introduced that I think I know where it's going, they fucking come back around and I'm like, oh shit, that's fun. I love this. Jesse, would you like to give the beginning introduction of what it's about?
Yeah, I mean, like the initial premise of it is Cisco gets sent back from the what do they call the prophets?
Yeah,
back to Earth because someone's killing the godlike beings in the universe, and they want Cisco to figure out who's doing it before they come after the prophets. And so Cisco comes back and gets a crew together of Beverly Crusher, Data, Scotty, and they're using Scotty's ship from the episode where they find him in the is it the Theseus that they're using?
Yes.
Yeah, and then who else is it? It's Tom Paris. I feel like there's one more person I'm forgetting.
Out of recurring characters,
Worf is in the first like 4 issues before he splits off into his own book.
Yeah. And then they have a couple extra characters. One who is just canonically non-binary and even uses the mix. What's it called? Honorific.
Shit. I guess.
And like there's a little bit where they say like one of them mentions the ship in a way that like you would normally call a ship a she, and so somebody else says, oh no, ships are she's, and they're like, I don't have time for your gender binary, fuck off. Stop correcting me about ships.
This ship is a they.
Yeah, I'm curious about that character.
Yeah, they're setting up something weird with that character.
Yeah, because that character is supposed to be a Vulcan, but it seems like they're not. They're something else.
There's a lot going on with that character. One of their things that they just repeatedly say is, I am Talir, a Vulcan of Starfleet. And so they're definitely not a Vulcan of Starfleet. If you have to say that, you're definitely not that. But it's very fun so far. You learn that the weapon that the main antagonist is using to kill gods is an orb of the prophets, the people that sent Cisco to stop this god killer. So it's like,
Wait, is this
why'd
an
you make a
orb made out of
weapon that
prophets or made by prophets?
by they're never clear.
Is this a
To
little?
be
Did you
honest.
did you lop off a chunk of a prophet or
Well, they're
like what the fuck is?
non-corporeal, so
That's true. I forgot about that.
I want to say they're made by them, but they don't ever explicitly say that. But this is the orb of destruction, and it can kill gods. And then Cisco's just like, "We've been on a mission for the prophets. They're the ones that made this fucking thing. Why are we doing this? what
Also, lop
what
off a
is
chunk of
this?"
a prophet is my favorite My Chemical Romance song. I had to slot that.
And
in
up to
there.
this point, the prophets haven't been like a force of war in any of the media. Like they've been like
Why?
behind the scenes kind of orchestrating stuff, but they've never been like the force going into a war. So it's weird that they would have an orb of destruction.
God, may the force
So
be
that
with
was very
them.
cool. But then there's an up to where I'm caught up to they had to go back to Cardassia Prime, which is one of the big players in the Dominion War that happened in Deep Space Nine. Um, it was left completely in rubble at the end of Deep Space Nine, and so they're coming back years later once reconstruction has started. And the moment Cisco plants foot on the planet, he is immediately arrested and is like, "We're fucking coming for you for war crimes." And we're like, "Yes, the war crime captain, let's go." It's been official, he's the war crime captain.
Just that goes
I
on his
fucking love it.
headstone. That goes on his plaque. Hello.
And like in the trial, like the prosecutor got like 40 witnesses or something, and Cisco only gets one witness.
Oh.
And that's where I'm caught up to. So I don't know what happens at the end of this trial, and I want to read it right now.
You're gonna. I keep saying this and it keeps not happening, but you're gonna like make me read Star Trek comics. I will say the thing that sold me at first is that you said the data's in there, and that really just was what it took.
Yeah,
In,
he
in
gets put
the
on
in
the
the
Theseus, and he brings Spot with him in a little cat carrier.
in
But he
the
brings-
spin-off, which is the Defiant series, which is with Worf's crew, Lore is with them.
Ooh, now I
Did
need to
you say
read
he
that.
brings Spock with him in a little carrier?
No, Spot, his
Oh,
cat.
wrong letter. Wrong
No,
mouth
Spock at this
says.
point. Wait, what in the timeline is this? Is Spock
This
fucking
is-
gone?
No, Spock's in the Defiant also.
Oh, okay.
The Defiance crew is Worf, Lore, Spock, gosh, who the Ensign Rowe, the traitor, and B'Elanna. Plus, they also
Spock
had a
dies,
couple new
we
characters for
learn.
that too.
Damn, I need to read it now.
It
Now I
ties
just
in
wanna
once you
read
get
comics.
to the big event that they're building up to.
Yeah, see, I just bought I got like the free trial of Comixology on Amazon so that I could just read up to where we are now because I knew it wasn't that many comics. And then Comixology isn't up to date, so I'm still gonna have to buy the newest ones, which pisses me off.
Yep.
I hate the internet. Is
Yeah.
there a 1, 2, 3 movies for comics?
There, okay, I will tell you there is, but I can't say what it is on stream.
I want to buy them anyway. I would not suggest
Yeah.
anybody go there, especially. I mean, not because we're being streamed onto the Banter thing. Don't pirate things. But,
Right.
but I was just curious. It was a
will
little
say-
brain teaser.
I will say now, this is not condoning piracy, but I will say
I feel like you're
I-
about to condone piracy.
I'm not condoning. No, I'm. Just listen to me for a second. I am not condoning anybody do this, but I do know a good number of people who like because it's like hard to put away the budget for a lot of the books and comic books and things like that that they want to consume. They initially pirate it and then go back and just like once they actually have the dough, they in bulk just buy all the ones that they had. So in the long run, it's not. It's only temporarily piracy. It's more like borrowing it from a library that didn't consent. But but yeah, and then you buy it.
Don't
but
pirate things,
don't
even
pirate
temporarily.
things. No, and
We
not
we
even
we we good
temporarily.
banter. We good.
It's just a thing people do. I'm
Sure.
not saying you should.
Sure.
People also do heroin, and we don't think you should do that. You know, that's that. I think that's
We also didn't
explicitly
kind of
clear.
justify heroin.
When did
If
we
you're gonna do
justify
heroin, you
heroin?
should talk with your doctor about possible side effects and interactions with any other medications you may be on.
Is that
Yes.
is that the thing that you have to say, or is that a
No, that's just good advice in
oh,
general.
oh okay?
If
I
you're
was
gonna
Yeah.
do
wondering
any
if like
drug,
If you do illicit drugs, do tell your doctor.
please do. Oh,
Yeah.
and I've also heard about relevant to that, just as a little tiny tangent. Apparently, in most states where cannabis is illegal, we're not condoning using cannabis in illegal states. You get it, but if it's already in your system and you're going to the dentist and they ask you if you've been using, they're not looking to like, oh, we finally got him. With you admitting that you've used cannabis recently, even if you're in a legal state. It's because some of the types of anesthetic they use could fucking kill you if you mix it with cannabinoids. And so, be honest with those folks.
well, it's not so much
They're
that it can
usually.
kill you, it's just that it takes more to put you under.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misremembered. Thank you for correcting me. But yeah, still not great. So be honest with those folks. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty chill. They're not gonna snitch. Yeah.
So we're about halfway through this show. Let's start a fight. What's the best Star Trek captain?
Oh, well,
Captain
this-
I
Janeway,
feel like
obviously.
yeah. I mean,
My
I
name is
I
Patrick Stewart. What do you expect from me?
better taste.
I mean, it's Cisco for me, but I can see other people.
Yeah, I've always been stuck between Cisco and Janeway, so I cannot,
Yeah.
in good conscience, say either Kirk, Archer, or the one that you just said, Picard. I fucking forgot his name.
Yeah, I will say my top three are definitely, and in no particular order, Picard, Janeway, and Cisco. But I mean, Patrick Stewart goes on top in most things, and you can take
Cisco
that in
was the
whatever
one
context you
from
want.
Deep Space Nine, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, he's really good too.
Though
he's very good.
the
I love my war crimes.
related to media, there actually is something that I wanted to kind of play with for this last episode of the year.
Okay.
And Jesse, of course, you are also completely free to participate in this. Though this is, I explicitly brought this question in to play off of the dynamic between Ashley. You're the gamer. I'm the one who's more into movies. I want to know of any and all of the games and movies that I have consumed this year, especially ones that hopefully just ones that came out this year, but if you got to stretch it to just ones you've played this year, ones you've watched this year, what is your favorites?
I have so many that I played this year. You saw my Steam Wrapped,
Right, yeah.
my
It was a
Steam
fucking
Year in
Library
Review
of
or whatever they
Congress.
call it. It was like 200 games. Jesse,
You
would
could
you
pick
want to
like a
go
top
first?
10. Yeah.
Because I need time to remember.
I mean, Spider-Man 2 is the best game I played this year, I think, and I really enjoyed that time I had with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is good.
So what about movies?
Oh gosh, that I've seen a lot of.
It's like you have a movie podcast or something.
It's like I'm having a movie park. My top movie still of the year, I think, is Killers of the Flower Moon, which is the Martin Scorsese movie.
I heard about that one. I'm fascinated now. You are going to be the nail in the coffin that gets me to watch it.
I can only remember one movie I watched this year, and that was the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I don't remember any others I watched.
It wasn't that. It wasn't fucking bad. I'll say that.
It was pretty good. I really liked it.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I can't wait for Markiplier to die in the sequel.
Right, of course. He has to. He has to like honestly, like the equivalent in whatever equivalent the next movie has to the if you haven't already seen it, plug your ears for the next 5 seconds. The scene where the lady gets chopped in fucking half by the jaws. Yeah, if that equivalent scene isn't Markiplier in the next one, then you could just boycott the third one if you want.
Can I
Anyway,
count season 3 of Picard as a movie?
I'll give it to you because you're really
Like I
clawing me.
literally I can't remember another movie that I watched this year.
We could say movie slash
Um,
series. I think that's
but
fair
no,
to
I
say.
watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I think that's
Was
like
that this
slightly
year?
better than Five Nights of. That's what I watched it this year. I don't know. I don't remember when it came out. I watched
No,
it
no,
this
no,
year
because
though.
that won Best Picture for 2022, didn't it?
Yeah,
Okay, but yeah, you saw it this year, and so
I
that's
saw
close
it this
enough.
year, and I still saw it in theaters this year. So I think that
It's pretty
counts.
impressive.
Yeah, and it was
Slightly better
declared.
than Five
Yeah,
Nights at Freddy's.
yeah,
Um,
at least slightly.
slightly like if Five Nights at Freddy's is like a 90, Everything Everywhere All at Once is like a 92.
Okay, so in terms of because I don't remember a whole bunch of games from explicitly this year because like I know of a bunch of games where I'm like, oh, that was probably this year when it was likely more like within the past five uh because it's that easy to
Yeah,
lose track. But I will say I I'm not going to restrict this to games that I've played because the two games that I that I want to pick I definitely didn't play because I don't have the means. So Marvel Spider-Man 2 just like what Jesse said, but also Hi-Fi Rush is a chonker of a gorgeous game and it
amazing
appeals to
game.
everything I love in aesthetics.
It
It's got
it's a
yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know, it's a hack and slash rhythm game, and it has
Yeah.
this almost comic book aesthetic to it. It is very pretty. It is very nice
Unashamedly
sounding because all of the
self-care.
music's amazing as well.
Yeah.
Who
It
just
is an
did the wow? Did you
wait, do we have hold on. Wait, I gotta get the name right. Wait.
like that's a paragraph.
Well, no, 'cause there was someone who like for the first handful of episodes like had a soundboard and I know they were in a lab coat of sorts
Yeah,
and I don't remember if it
I
was
think
you or
that's
not.
them.
Send a
Yeah.
text message if it was you. But yeah.
If it was you, play
Um
a sound effect.
yeah. Oh, okay. Speaking of which, that's like okay. So my movie of the year because I told you like immediately when I saw that I saw a bunch of pretty good movies and a couple of good shows this year, but um there was no other. Oh, I said rhythm, so so you played the Riz sound effect is what you. I
Ugh.
I'll take your word for the fact that either of us said rhythm. I'll gladly take your word for that. But yeah, so that's definitely so Maxi. Yeah. Um. Anyway, um, when I came out of this movie, I told you that my favorite movie was no longer Looney Tunes Back in Action. It was Across the Spider-Verse. And
Oh
so yeah,
yeah.
I kind of got to go with that one. It's mixed mediums and it is just such a rich story. The only thing I don't like about it is that, well, one, if you're not looking to be like because we're both autistic and it is very easy to be overstimulated by that movie visually, it just kind of hits all of those notes, kind of is just like par for the course for that kind of movie. It's visually overstimulating, overloading, but and not like in an epilepsy way as far as I can tell, but just gives you that little itch. But yeah, the only part that I significantly don't like about it is the kind of feeling it left me with where I'm like, oh no, I'm only gonna have any kind of resolution here with Beyond the Spider-Verse. And so yeah, it was just like a showcase of cool shit segueing the first movie into the second movie, which is technically what a second of a trilogy is supposed to do, but it's frustrating. So, bleh. But yeah, I loved that movie to pieces.
Well, I'll segue that sentiment into one of my games of this year, and it isn't fully out. if you don't want to count it because it's just a demo, whatever. But the past week I've been playing oh fuck, how do I say it? Balatro, something like that. It is a roguelike poker game. And I know they say the demo's stopping sometime soon after the new year, and I'm going to be so fucking sad if they don't
Oh,
immediately release an updated demo because it is. I just sink myself into it immediately. I bought like 5 games in the last week. I've only been playing this free demo.
oh my God. That's a. I love when demos like when they are like functionally a full game is just like you can get more out of the full version. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Or
if you like roguelikes, akin to like the mechanics behind Binding of Isaac, um, gosh, I don't remember any other roguelikes right now. Hades, and stuff like that. Give it a download. The demo's free. I don't know how long it's going to be up. Maybe just another week, maybe more, maybe less. Um, but definitely give it a try. Another game that came out this year that I really liked has been Counter-Strike 2, which you've been playing a lot of.
right. Yeah, we
Um,
talked about that a few episodes ago.
it's Counter Strike Global Offensive, but has a couple quality of life features and just looks better.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Um, gosh, what other game I've been playing recently? A lot of Dreamlight Valley, Disney Dreamlight's Valley. Um, I don't know if that came out this year or that was last year. I've only just started playing it
I
though.
think it did come out this year. I
Yeah.
I would say probably. Yeah.
Um, God, what else? I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but there's a couple suggestions there. I remember a lot of my playtime this year was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 because it finally suckered me in with the 2v2 mode.
I
Um,
I think another
mhm.
couple of honorable mentions if you don't mind. I could be very, very wrong about this. I could be skewed by the fact that just a lot of people I know have just started playing this game and a lot this year. But it might have come out of beta this year. Teardown, because I know that like there was a
Yeah,
beta
it
version
like
that's
just
much
released
older.
this year.
Yeah, yeah, and so tear down. The only reason I took this long to say it is because I was so not confident that it came out this year. But yeah, no, that's a fantastic game. Every little bit of sound design and aesthetics, like if you're into voxels, like it goes above and beyond in ways that kind of like I think
Yeah.
Minecraft fans of the past 15-ish years have would have salivated over for that entire span of time if it came out
For
sooner.
people that have never heard of it, it is a voxel, meaning square, made up of tiny squares. Physics simulator game where you get this little sandbox to play in and you can just destroy shit.
And
And
unlike a lot of yeah,
well, I was going to say, and it also has campaign missions to where there are objectives that you usually it's grab thing from location and exit location without getting shot by a helicopter. But so the only time that a helicopter is actually looking for you is after you've started. Either you've taken whatever you need or you've made enough mess that it's like, what the fuck is happening over there? And then it comes to check you out, which is really fun. So you get to like destroy some stuff to make a good path for yourself to escape.
yeah, there's a lot of simulator games so okay, of simulator games that I've found over the course of the past well, really ever in my lifetime. Um, they've either had a story mode where you didn't get to play around very much, or they had a sandbox mode that didn't even entertain the idea of this, or barely entertain the idea of a story mode, and like no kind of meet in the middle. Maybe I just had bad luck with that. Teardown has a very robust sandbox and campaign mode as far as I can tell, and they got a good they got a good workshop system as well built into it for both like tools to bring anywhere, maps that you could do whatever in, and different settings for those maps. Even it's like it basically making whole miniature games within the same game, a little Gmod style. Um, that one is, and another game that we've actually both had, we both have been playing a lot recently, and we've gotten a decent amount of time out of. Um, it's on the it recently came onto Steam VR. You might have heard of it. It's called Banter. and
Oh yeah,
and
I go on there
it's a
every now and then.
physics-based,
But
yeah,
throw the new
social
kid a
VR
bone.
platform. Right. Yeah. But in the wake of the death of alt space, this came and filled its boots and did honestly, like I thought that it was going to be a really nice effort, and I thought I hope it does, but it's probably not going to make it so far. But it's thankfully proven me very, very wrong. I like when that happens
Yeah,
in cases like this. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, ye of little
Banter is
faith.
really the only place to just do events.
yeah. That's pretty much it, and it's also physics based, which a lot of social VR stuff. I mean, I don't think really any other social VR stuff is.
Yeah,
They kind of
nothing
figured it
that
out.
is an important name anyway.
What am I missing? I'm curious.
What?
Is there one I'm missing?
No, I'm sure there's one out there, but probably 3 people
Oh,
play it.
right. Well, there is like the Blade and Sorcery multiplayer mod. I guess you could technically count because that's a
No,
very
I
physics-based
wouldn't
game.
count that. If
Yeah.
it's a mod, it's
It,
not a platform.
well, I was just saying while we're covering bases here. Jesse, did you have anything to put on anything we've said so far with those games?
I've been wanting to try to tear it out myself, but I just have not checked it out yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun as hell.
Yeah, it recently got onto Xbox as well. So if you're like, oh, my computer couldn't run it, if you have an Xbox, it's on there too.
I have a 1060 and I can run it pretty well. Like and so
I feel like I
not
feel like
impressed by
your
that.
standards might not be the same as a lot of people's standards, though.
I will say it rarely dips below 60 for me. No, like
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. Like it has some hiccups, but I've gotten used to hiccups, but like only once every like I don't know, 10,
I
15
guess
minutes.
I'm also a bringer of destruction, so when I play it, it chugs
Right.
because I just like use an atom bomb.
Yeah, I'm like, because the thing is, I get bored really easily if I'm going pedal to the metal at all times and not doing some lower level, like just like little like scattered, weaker creative destruction. And so I'm like, I want to make this experience last, just because if I get it done all at once, I'm gonna get sick of it. And in that. It does damn well. Like I tore apart a few houses in a suburban neighborhood and set at least a couple of them on fire straight up, which is classically in video games a frame chugger, especially with particle effects and how it affects the environment around it. And yeah, it didn't bat an eyelash at me for that.
Yeah,
The weirdest part is the worst frame rate drop I think was just the first time I tried to use the spray can, which was a mod by the way, which so technically still technically still a smooth 60 most of the time. Yeah.
it was a mod. I mean, it's just in the game now.
No, well, okay, so there's some mods that are like they're mods, but they're like because they're in the mod menu, but they are built into the game as like, oh, examples for mods, but you could
There's a
just
spray
include
can
these
in the
if you want.
campaign.
Is there?
Yeah,
Well, it's shown it to me in the fucking mod manager, so I don't know. But like,
I
cause
don't
it
know. It's
showed
in the
under like
campaign when I
built-in
play it.
mods. But yeah, so it has like a column in the center for the workshop mods that you get, which I have too many, and a column on the left for the built-in mods, and the spray can for me was one of them.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Teardown's fantastic.
All right. Well, we're
Mm-hmm.
in our final 10 minutes, it looks like. Did we have
420.
anything?
Four,
I don't know why that was so funny to me.
four. Throw down the fucking confetti, put away the balloons and the fireworks, or cancel it. For 2023 is a jolly
I
good
can't I
they
can't
them.
wait to clip that from the fucking broadcast.
For 2023 is a jolly good they them. For 2023 is a jolly good they them. Yeah.
How was in the last 10 minutes, let's just say, how was everyone's 2023?
Uh, there was a lot of growth. and it was hard, and
Yeah.
it was fun. A lot of it. This part was fun, at very least. I did a lot of fun improv, spent a lot of good time with friends, and I actually patched up quite a bit, quite a few relationships, and I'm sitting comfortably with a lot of my buddies now that, things sometimes can get rocky with every so often. But yeah, I had quite a Merry Christmas and probably a good St. Patrick's Day, and ignored 4th of July as God intended, and
I won't let you forget this year.
and I and I
I'll send you a firework in the mail.
a lit firework. Yeah, and
It's rigged to go off when you open the envelope.
this was the first, because I get reverse seasonal depression most of the time, because most of the people get seasonal depression when it gets cold out. I get the other way around because I'm more a fan of gloomy weather. But yeah, this was the first summertime in years that I figured out how to like. And I think that kind of coincided with the fact that, like, it was timed right along with when I started my running habit, which I was very proud of, and had to
Yeah.
still stop because continuously fucking up toe, and I don't want to tempt fate, but
Yeah.
I am gonna start that again
Because you
in the new
kept
year.
bashing your toe into shit.
Literally, I'm not kidding. You're spot on. That same toe
I
kept
know I'm
knocking
spot
in.
on. You told me.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, okay.
exactly how it sounded. You
Yeah.
told me the
No.
whole situation, and at the end, I was like, "So you just stubbed your fucking toe hard?"
There were times after any of the times that I told you, like 3 times, that just shit knocked back into that same toe and just kept. And I don't know what it is. I think God hates me. I need
You're
to
accident
stop
prone.
being gay and doing crimes. I definitely accident prone. But yeah, how was your 2023?
My 2023 was pretty good. I mean, I got back into content creation. I have 2 shows now. Watch Threshold after the show. Um,
Nice.
hopefully, I'm going to have at least one more in the nearish future. So look forward to that. Been writing, doing all this cool stuff again. So it's been a good year. Well, how about you, Jesse?
Yeah, 2023's been all right overall. I think as the world is the world, it influences you in some ways. So the world has had a rough 2023, so I feel that a bit. But yeah, I put out a book, started a new podcast, made some new friends. It's not too bad.
Name one
Yeah.
thing that went wrong in all of 2023. I
Yeah,
dare
2023 was famously a non-contentious year.
you. It would have 2023 was a flawless year internationally.
Yeah.
Just
And I can only imagine next year is going to be even better.
God. I I really wonder when cuz we go through, like, cuz I feel like in terms of international, like, just big news shit, we go through like fluctuating like spans of a handful of years where shit gets really really bad, and then it kind of tapers off a little bit, and then it gets really really bad again, and I'm curious as to when this one's going to die down a little bit more. Yeah.
I mean, it's just been kept going since 2020, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
and before that, it started in like 2016, I think, and like tapered
Yeah.
off. It had just
Eh,
finished by the time 2020 came around, and then it just sucker punched right when we weren't
Yeah.
expecting it. Yeah, but yeah. Have a good
So that
2024,
that was
guys.
that was the thought bubble for 2023. Next
Yeah.
next week is New Year's.
I feel like I'm on Sesame Street, but I can say fuck because I'm behind this couch, and it makes me feel like I'm a
Yeah,
Muppet.
whose hand do you have up your ass?
I lost track at this point. Lunar?
The,
I don't think it's mine.
Oh, fuck,
it
I
just
gotta look at the
swaps out
collection.
every time, every show. It's a different person, so you can never get comfortable.
Just like you keep seeing fingernails stick out of my stick out of my throat just because it, that
They're like tingle tingle.
that just bucket that you feel. Oh my god, I hate it. Welcome to
So how'd you
Banter
like being on the show, Jesse?
It was definitely an interesting experience. It's the first time I've done a show in VR.
Yeah.
Uh,
And arguably, whenever you do get VR, it'll still be your first show you've done in VR.
True.
well, gladly I'll be back on any time. You've been a riot.
Oh yeah. Well, we're 5 minutes out. What do we have
Yeah.
to do for 5 minutes?
Well, we could just shamelessly plug things if you like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Most of our links to our socials, our shows, everything, my stories are all on mrsashley.gay, MISSUS Ashley.gay. There you can also find Threshold Podcast has its own section now. That's mrsashley.gay/threshold, so you can listen to the episode 1, and I think we're releasing bi-weekly.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yep. I actually had to change that in all of our socials right before we came in here because it said every week. I was like, wait, we're not doing that.
Every single week, half the weeks.
Yeah, on the website you can find all of our Twitter, Blue Sky. I don't know if we have any more. I know my Twitch is on there, but I never fucking use it.
Mm-hmm.
You can also join the Discord. The Discord's on there. Come talk about things. Talk about how you like Threshold. Talk about how you like this show. Talk about how you like things. It's a great
Exactly.
place.
Yeah. And also, I do improv night with Stevie and Show every Friday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every other week in Banter or VR Chat, depending. This week is Banter. And so if you'd like to play some improv games with some buddies and with Show and I on the stage, then then we'd be glad to have you. And this will be, it should, okay, that should also be the last show of the year. I think it's really cutting it close to the end, but yeah.
Yeah,
So
because it's going to be what, the 29th?
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm comfortable saying this. We actually didn't even stream the episode that we tried to have as the last VR chat one before Christmas, because it was so close to Christmas that anybody who came was like half an hour late, and so we couldn't do the episode. And
Yeah.
so yeah, which was like, we had a great conversation as it happened. But yeah, anyway, if you want notifications for any of that, and when it doesn't happen, like those times, if you want to ask like, hey, what the fuck is going on, then you can go to improvvr.co.uk. That's improv, then an r.co.uk to find everything you need for that. So yeah, have a lovely time.
I like how we've never acknowledged that it's a .co.uk, despite none of
I
us
know,
living in Britain.
I know. Well, I mean,
I just feel we have an
show lives in
entirely new
Brighton.
audience from when we first made the joke. We need to
Yeah.
let people in.
Yeah. Well, the show lives in Brighton, so I think
Oh,
that's
fair
fair.
enough.
We might actually have to bleep that out because I don't remember if like he tells that on stage. I know that he tells that directly off stage, but but yeah.
Just dox people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just look all around that city, and you'll find. I was actually about to say like I was actually about to say something that they definitely wouldn't know about something he looks like, and to look for that as a bit. I caught that one, so don't don't look for second
Look for
or
the
any of us
address.
realize. Yeah.
All
He'll
right,
be
and
the
Jesse, where can people
adorable little
find
cat
you?
boy in the corner.
Oh. Jesse, where can people find you?
Yeah, most of my social media is just at Sleeper of the Bed. And then if it's not that, you can usually find me as some variation. But I'm mostly still on Twitter and kind of on Blue Sky and things like that.
All right. I guess that's the show. Thank you, everybody. And thank you,
Muppets
Jesse,
can
for
say
coming
fuck.
along.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you, Jesse.
All right. One thing that's really fun that I found out about Twitter, because I had to reset a password, is that everything is X except for the password reset screen where you can still see Twitter and the Twitter bird. They still haven't changed that.
Was that